What's up, y'all? This is your boy Gerald. It is the 3rd of September, 2016. How is everybody doing? So, you are in the weekend. For some, this is the last weekend before your babies go off. To others, this is the culmination of your summer. And for those, it's just another weekend because the grind is continuing to go. So I wanted to take the time out and put this video out for you. I've also opened up the chat. So I'm going to try to interact and see how this goes. Well, I'm going to throw this disclaimer out because this video is going to be an opportunity for you to interact with me, as well as I'm just going to give thoughts and look at some things that may have caught your attention, may not. 2016 has been a cavalcade of emotional stressors, y'all. I don't have to tell you. Why is it 2016 has been like the social or emotional scab that everybody now doesn't want to look under? We have never been so divided as a culture, as a society. And what's so ironic is the fact that there are those that are making a conscious decision to not only make money off of your emotional response, but they're also using it as a tool to keep you from being uninformed. It was brought to my attention earlier today that, first of all, it is always very important that you know what's going on in your community. But it is also a benefit to also know what's going on in your surrounding community. We're talking nationally. That's why it's very important to keep abreast on what's going on in the media or lack thereof. For example, did you know that last week a story broke in Madison, Alabama, I think it was Alabama, where there is a 18-year-old sitting in prison, well, sitting in the city jail for terroristic threats. However, it was all, the police were called upon it, and I have to thank the person who initially reported the story, a guy named Relevant Navi, good channel. He broke the story first about this 18-year-old suffering from schizophrenic personality disorder. Grandmother called the cops on him because he didn't take his medicine. Okay? Claimed that he had been making strange noises or he had been talking to himself in his room. And when she confronted him, he was combative. So in turn, she called the police on him. Now let's backtrack that. From the age of 13, she had custody of him because him at age 13 lost his mother. She died unexpectedly. Well, that's what death is. No one knows the hour nor the time. He lost his mom and indirectly had a nervous breakdown and was institutionalized for over 300 days, placed in solitary confinement. Now, You have a 13-year-old boy that does not have a relationship with his father, or it was not identified. Just lost your mom. You don't have a support system. And the only response to that is seclusion. Now, when I heard him report the story, I tried to look at it unbiasedly, and I saw exactly what was going on. That little boy, well, he's 18 now. That little boy needed to be nurtured. That boy needed to feel emotionally safe. And that was not the case. But the grandmother, being that she was the legal guardian of him, probably did this. That little boy was bigger than her. Instead of dealing with the fact of having to combat, she decided to bring the authorities to use that as a tool to intimidate that little boy. Now, you're dealing with the psyche of a 13-year-old. And usually in our society, even though you are a certain age, your mentality actually shows who you really are. Because we have 60-year-olds acting like they're, 18. So, fast forward. You have this little boy being traumatized of the death of his mother, being even more traumatized because you're now isolated from the people that you do know as a source of protection. And the only response to that is locked up. The only benefit that is you're setting up a child that may have just needed a little bit of structure, a whole lot of love, a whole lot of support and guidance. Now you have warped the psyche because this is all they know. We also know this today too because we have a world level, especially in our society. We know them as bad boys. We know them as thugs. We also know them as two-legged pit bulls or Rottweilers because we have insecure women that instead of being able to speak their truth, they gravitate to the first source of protection, even though that protection is not for them. But you know what amazes me about 2016? There's no accountability. And I don't understand how is it that we are in the most technological era of our times, but the things that we actually need as a collective, as a society, as a people, how about as an individual, are the hardest things to obtain? Why is it seems that now more than ever, validation at all costs is the first thing that is appreciated. I remember, I think it was 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, the Black Eyed Peas had a song called Where's the Love? But 15 years ago, Digital Underground, which they had a splinter pseudo-name group called No Face, and they had a song called What's Up with the Love. And it was really big on the West Coast, and everything about that hip-hop song was on point. Actually, it was one of the first songs that cameoed Tupac Shakur as a lead vocal on that track. Guys Got Nothing to Do, look it up in your search engine. No Face, What's Up to Love. I'm surprised that it didn't get as a much bigger push. But then again, I kind of understand why, because anything that's positive, we kind of take a backdoor to it because, we like to sensationalize drama. We like to, because drama makes money. Let's call it spade spade. And that's one of the reasons why you see this all the time. You always see people nowadays, instead of taking accountability, they are proud members of, proud card-carrying members of the victim association, because nobody wants to own what they do. It's too easy to look that way or turn a blind eye, or better yet, we know that as no stitching. But what's so sad is we don't understand that it's the babies that look up to our actions. But yeah, we have a nerve to want to hold our mouth when the jaws drop, when we see the behavior that they're doing, but we don't take accountability of the actions that we're doing today. Why? Because it's all about this. Because see, at the end of the day, it is about numbers, y'all. And unfortunately, there'll be those that would pretty much sell their mom on just for a buck, but then don't see that spiritual truck coming around the corner that's going to knock you in your butt, because all things come full circle. But then, as Nabi spoke on it in his video, one question that was addressed, he posed it, he said, why is it that this story came out that it didn't get any social attention? Why is it that you don't see people up in arms in regards to injustice when this was injustice? It's because of the fact that the injustice was done by people that look just like us. See, you can't have it both ways, y'all. There is no blurred line. There is no blurred line when it comes to right or wrong, just like there is no blurred line when it comes to your happiness. But why is it that we, as a collective, why do we always choose our pride over our happiness? Why? What do you actually think that you were born on this planet to have a life that was full of regret? Because you got a lot of people out here today that have gotten this literature, that had bad intel on it. But here's the thing about it. Nobody seems to give a damn because it's not on their front door. Why is it that? It doesn't get any press because, but then again, let's think of it this way. How often do you see a good story on a newspaper? Or better yet, when's the last time you read one? When's the last time you actually saw something in the media that inspired you? So you got everybody talking about what Colin Kaepernick chose to do. Well, it ain't the first time and it won't be the last time. Some of y'all don't remember that basketball player that played for the Nuggets about almost 15 years ago. He was the lead scorer too in the NBA, but because he made that political stance, it cost him his career. See, at the end of the day, the owner don't care about what you do. He care about what you do to put them butts in the seat. At the end of the day, it's about them numbers. But see, it seems like nowadays, people have their character and integrity given at the highest bidder, but looking for the lowest return. Why is that? It's kind of contradictory when you say, well, Gerald, why can't I just have someone that would appreciate who I am, who will get me? It's quite simple. You can't attract somebody in your life that will get you until you get you. But why don't people speak that? Why is that? Why is it that when stuff go down, nobody wants to speak up anymore? What we so afraid of? Why are we being held hostage on what we feel? Or is it just something that has been going on so long that socially we have become desensitized. That's why I said this before some time ago when former President Bush used the term shock and awe. You're living in it. You have the UFC, where it's a bloodbath every pay-per-view, and we celebrate it. We've gotten to a point now that every day there's somebody's son or daughter that ain't making it home, found with yellow tape and a bunch of excuses. But they always have this one person that should be in the back of the crowd, always in front of the mic. Why is that? Why is that, y'all? Because you have some people that look at your life as a joke. You have some people that have taken a conscious decision and said, you know what, you matter not. The military called that a calculated casualty. Well, you can't be a calculated casualty if you refuse to be accounted for. And that falls back down to you. So why is it that we have so many people on one side say, well, hey, Gerald, I want to do this and I want that. But then on the same, you run into those same people and they're not put forth. In other words, what I'm trying to say, because my soup coolers are getting in the way. You always will hear somebody say what they want. But those are the same people that they won't invest in themselves. But have the audacity to complain why it don't play out the way it do. Why is that? I think it's kind of amazing. I'll tell you another thing that's kind of amazing too. Why is it now, almost 3 weeks, you heard no coverage about the people that had the floods going on in Louisiana? They heard nothing from FEMA. But those people are still dealing with that. What's going on with that? Now, yeah, I know there's going to be some of y'all going to say, well, Joe, you do understand that you've got was Hurricane Hermine, now it's tropical, now it's been digressed to a tropical storm. And yes, the waves were very, very high here. They were extremely high here in Virginia Beach. And you know what I found amazing about that too, y'all? Because today, I was out and about in that weather. And you know what I saw when the news covered it? Because they try to paint this story like, ooh, the end of the world, especially locally, right? They were more worried about the concert that was supposed to, because Labor Day weekend is very big in Virginia Beach. And just so happened, Bruce Springsteen was going to perform tonight, as well as UB40 and some other artists along the boardwalk. They were more worried about the performance than what was going on and how it would affect the people that live here. That's when I knew, okay, we got a problem in our priorities. Yes, sir. The dialogue quickly went from, yes, from weather to concert to now we ain't gonna make no money. Well, what's going on right now? You can't hear it, but the wind is starting to pick up right now. Well, see, you're starting to hear. Yep, it's fire department. Somebody's stuff blew over. Got a lot of high wind here, y'all. Got a lot of high wind. But what I found so amazing was, why is it we don't prioritize on the things that matter, but why don't we stay true to our convictions so that they become a reality? Why is that? Just wondering. Now, there's a flip side to this. I have a beer today. There's a blessing in this because of this. First of all, let me backtrack. You know what kind of blew my mind in regards to this weekend was the name of the tropical storm, Hermine. You know what Hermine means? Or what it is? Well, if you break the word down, Herms means man. Well, the INE is feminine text. And I thought it was kind of ironic that you add that to it. That makes the word feminized, or really comes off gay. It sounds really gay because you have a hybrid of the two, feminine and male, together in that word. Because you go in Europe to go to the bathroom, you'll see it says Herms, means man in Dutch. So you had the INE on there. That's a derivative of feminine text. So feminine man. Okay. I thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, not to be winded. But yeah, I thought it was just kind of ironic. And I'm going to try something different because I opened up my chat. And this is a good opportunity. If there was something that you want to talk about, or there was a video that you saw, but first I need to know, can you see me? If you can, let me know. And I'm going to give you all an opportunity if there's any questions, concerns, something that you would like for me to talk about, or just critique. Because without you, there would not be no me. And I do it for you. I don't do it for definitely financial accolades. That's the last thing I do it for, to reach the intended heart and mind. So if you see this, let me know. Now, somebody did ask me earlier in the week what I felt about the whole Chris Brown situation. Chris Brown being a Tappahannock resident, Virginia, VA stand up. And the biggest problem with Chris Brown is he didn't realize the magnitude of his celebrity. And that's conflicting with his desire to be normal. I mean, he's a normal person, but he's a celebrity. So he can't, for that trade-off is your privacy. So no, Chris Brown can't just jump in his vehicle and roll up to Walmart at 11:30 at night and buy some donuts. You can't do that. Why? Because you're a celebrity. You put your face out there. That's the price for it. That's why when you notice people that are in the public eye, the first thing they always tell you is they wish they had a normal life. But one thing you don't hear them say is, I wish I can get his money back too. No, they ain't gonna do that. You're not gonna do that. Because they be lying. So what's going on with our society, y'all? What's going on with the communication amongst the generations? You know, I'm really concerned about, like, I'm what we consider a Generation Xer. You know, the 70s baby. And this generation is millennial. And even though you guys are very advanced and are very savvy with technology, your biggest challenge is going to be life skills, because you have elders that have been reared in the 70s, 80s. You came in the 90s, and unfortunately, in the 70s and 80s, the biggest challenge for us socially was drugs. The drug epidemic amongst, then the AIDS epidemic kicked in, and then you had a high level of mortality, deaths due to gang affiliation. Then on top of that, you had changes of laws and referendums in regards to incarceration, and you had a high volume, of people that were pretty much modern day slaves when it came to the penal system. You had you had the introduction of the three strikes rule, where people were getting 25 years, you know, for infractions, you know, especially like with drug infractions and stuff. I mean, there are so many people that were locked up for the use of marijuana. They were holding uh, uh, holding jail sentences higher than some of the, if you were a distributor. And a lot of that was because they needed free labor and privatized prisons. You know, the days of making license plates, nah, you got correctional facilities that are making furniture and growing food and making, you know, it's big business. And unfortunately, you have a lot of celebrities that have invested in that too, which is sad, because they're more or less a proponent for controlled genocide, because that's exactly what happened. But you know, I also noticed that this week we also heard a lot of rumbling about the whole Nate Parker situation with his movie Birth of a Nation. And it struck me because I wasn't aware that he was a Virginia Beach resident. I was not aware of that, but yeah, he resides here. But I actually had a chance to do some research on it, and it just amazes me how there's so many people have opinions on it, and a lot of it is bias, you know. And I think that if you make an accusation towards someone and it's unfounded, the same punishment that they would have gotten, you should do it yourself. Because a lot of people think that, well, you know what? You know, it's them. They'll be okay. They'll get out eventually. But see, that's somebody's life you're playing with, you know. And it's sad, especially when it comes to sexual assault. There are certain things that you don't play with. One is accusing somebody of sexual assault, and the other is harming a child. Those are the two things you don't play with, because usually the result of that is death. Maybe swiftly or indirectly. It always plays out. But it also shows how there is the justice system is flawed. Like, for example, you have that Stanford swimmer got sentenced for sexually assaulting a female student who was unconscious. So she probably drunk or high, but she wasn't consenting. He only got 6 months. He should have got 6 years. But he only did 90 days. He was out yesterday. And all they could say was, well, he'll end up living his life as a sex offender. He has to file. Yeah, but look at all those people that he got hooked up by fellow alumni. So that tells you right there, there's flaws. Why is it that judge still gets to practice? Why is that? Because there was privilege there. But I'm not going to sit up here and point fingers. I think that we as a society should be more informed, and we should be more judicious. And the same thing that we ask for, we should also exemplify too. Because you can't have it both ways. You can't play the victim if you're the one that's perpetuating it. So it makes me wonder, once again, y'all, why do people choose their pride over their happiness? What's so wrong? Why is it people have a chokehold on speaking their truth? What are they afraid of? Or better yet, is it worth the next tear that you're gonna drop? Is it worth the alienation that you're gonna carry? How about the unrest and peace that comes with another day that you've elected not to be happy? I think that's why they say in the scriptures, you reap what you sow. So if your life is not right, it's going to continue to be the same way until you decide to change it. But the real question should be asked, why you don't feel you're worth it? God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. So look here, y'all. I would love to hear from each and every one of y'all. If there's something that you want to talk about, maybe we can set up a forum. We can open up the chats. If there's something that you'd like for me to change, let me know. Drop me an inbox, and I'll try to be as courteous as I can and return back to you just as you sent it. But more importantly, what's going on right now is the next chapter of your life, y'all. You can kiss summer goodbye. You're getting ready to spring into autumn, and fall is coming. Make sure the blessings, just like them leaves, fall right there where they should be, inside your heart. You're worth it. Till then, have a blessed Labor Day weekend. Please be safe. There are going to be people out there that are not going to be giving a damn about you. Plus, Officer Friendly has to do a job. But most importantly, the same way that you left your home, make it be the same way you do when you make it back. And that should be at peace, but more important, blessed. Love to hear from you. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe.